Hi everyone, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe if you see something you like. Today, I'm working on something that is, well, you'll see, because this is the only spot I can really stand in my garage, because, quite frankly, my garage is not big enough, because I'm working on my truck. To those of you unfamiliar with this thing, this is my 1997 Dodge Ram 2500. Long bed, crew cab, about the size of a school bus, 12 valve Cummins. It's only two-wheel drive, but I bought it that way for a reason. I didn't want to drive a four-wheel drive truck in Connecticut or in the Northeast or anything. You can see the mud outside because all the snow literally melted over like 2 days and the ground's still frozen. Because I didn't want this thing to rot out from underneath me more than it already is. I mean, it's got a little bit going on, but I mean, that's really nothing when you think about trucks in the Northeast, especially with the four-wheel drive. So I bought it like this on purpose. I've owned it this way for, I don't know, 10, 11, I don't know how many years it's been. It's been over 10, but she's been a really good truck to me. I bought it from a horse rancher out in, I forget where in Rhode Island, but it was somewhere out there, and I got a killer deal for it. I think it had 140-something thousand miles on it. Paid like $6,000 for it, you know? That is just a screaming deal. People are like, well, you got a 12 valve for $6,000 with 140,000 miles and no rot? Yeah, I did. So, because I bought a two-wheel drive. Anyway, this thing has a few little goodies. I should at least show it to you before we start digging into what's wrong with it and why it's taking up my entire garage, because literally I can't shut the door unless this thing is butt up against all of the cabinetry and all of the shelves. And I don't have that much room in here. So I'll show you what I've done to it. So right off the bat, I'll tell you that I've had the cover off the timing set, gears, whatever you want to call it. And I did do the dowel pin, okay? That was like first thing. Recently I've done these valve cover gaskets just because it needed it. Stock turbo, doesn't need much more than that. I put a cold air kit on it just because I wanted to. And I also put on, you probably can't see it from up here, but I'll try anyway, right here. I put a Banks Big Head wastegate actuator on it, so it's got a little more boost. And I did put a number 10 fuel plate in here, so it's got a little more fuel. Now I had a 4-inch straight pipe exhaust coming off the turbo before. Then I put this on there, which was a MagnaFlow, just bullet muffler. Still too loud. So what I did was incredibly redneck, and you're gonna love this. So you can see the exhaust. I mean, the body, I mean, the frame. I mean, look at that. It's pretty damn clean for a Northeast truck. Yeah, the body mounts are good. A little surface rust here and there. I mean, you can't get away from it all. I put this giant exhaust on it, and I had that bullet muffler over there. And I didn't like it. Too loud. Straight pipe was too loud, so I did this. Yeah. Reducer. 3 or 3.5 inch welded Flowmaster, fake Flowmaster muffler. And I just stuck that in, and now it literally sounds like it Cummins with a Flowmaster, which is kind of hilarious. Oh, that kills power. Yeah, no crap. But I wanted it a little quieter, and it doesn't feel like any different when I'm towing stuff, so relax. I've rebuilt the transmission in this thing by myself. I put a new torque converter in it so that it would have a bigger lockup clutch, because I literally only use this thing for towing the race car and other truck stuff. I mean, I've owned this thing for, like I said, over a decade, and I've only put like 20 or 30,000 miles on it. So the reason I've got this thing in the shop today is, to be fair, I really need to put ball joints in it. I've probably needed that for a couple of years. I don't know if I'm going to get to that right now, because I can't shut the garage door, and if I put this thing on jack stands and don't finish it tonight, well, then all the neighborhood cats and rats and animals and mice are going to come live in my garage, and I do not want this gigantic pile of crap to be full of mice until I can find a place for all of this junk and get this thing back out of here. So what today we're going to focus the most on is probably going to be this. It's going to be yet another master cylinder. And to be completely fair, I think that the car I just worked on in my last video, my Focus, which you can see outside here, that I just had in the garage, honestly, I think that master's gone too. That car's got like 218,000 miles on it, and it would just be really weird for me to lose 3 master cylinders in 3 different cars. Like, that makes no sense. But when you're not touching the brakes in these cars, like opening things or changing things, and all of a sudden the pedal just goes to the floor without a line being damaged, you got to kind of wonder. And that's what the truck did. That's what the Crown Vic did. And I just tried to bleed the brakes in the Focus, and they didn't work great. And that pedal moves a lot. And the color of the fluid is pretty bad. So I'd really hate to put a master in that. I think I'm just going to drive it for now and just leave a lot of room between me and cars around me for now. But this truck, it needs to have a master cylinder fixed, bar none. I don't care. It's getting done, so that'll be job 1. Status report. Got this old master out. It's probably going to pour fluid everywhere, but I mean, what do you expect? It's already poured it everywhere else, but that ain't the point. What the point is this. It's disgusting. It is obviously original to the truck from 1997, and I am not a math wizard, so I'm not even going to begin to try to do the math on that, but I'm just going to say it's probably, nope, I'm not doing the math. Okay, next. Sorry, I'm trying to put this thing back together, but I broke every single brake line coming off of it because they're old and disgusting. So that is going to shut us down for the night. I wish I could show you what I did to my finger trying to jack the truck up, but I decided to just try to get the master cylinder out first. Maybe I'll put nah, you know what? I'm not going to gross you guys out doing that. I split my fingernail right down the middle on my middle finger, but my skin is actually pretty good. Just split the fingernail. No big deal. Wrap it up and put a glove on it and keep it good. But I got my other master cylinder sitting right over there, just waiting in a bag. I got a text message from the guy I'm going to be getting the part for my extra secret project that's coming up soon. He says he's got the other part that I'm looking for, and he's getting it done. So I'm trying to get this thing done so that maybe next week I can go pick that part up. Fingers crossed. I think this is going to shut us down for today. It is Saturday. Luckily, part stores are open weekends now, so I can probably get some brake lines. But I'm going to look around and see if I actually have line, and maybe I can just use these old fittings or find some fittings and just double flare my own stuff. But it's getting dark out. I don't have parts. My finger is swollen quite heavily, so I'm going to get some parts for this thing, and we'll see you as soon as that happens. Okay, it's been a couple days. We got a lot of snow for no obvious reason over the last couple days, but I've got the new master in. I've got some brake lines bent up for it because I had to break off, essentially, the ones going to this distribution block coming from the master because they were rotted completely. I'm just kind of tapping air bubbles out of it because I got some lines hooked up to these, or some hoses, I should say, hooked up to these lines, front and rear or wherever. And I got them running back into the master to try to bench bleed it while hooked up, but it's not pumping fluid and it's still blowing bubbles out of it. So I think I'm just going to let it sit here and just kind of keep tapping on it and watch the bubbles come out and see if that will get it going. I'll probably take a little break and go get my kid off the bus or something, So that's my update now, at least. So we're still working. Hopefully I'll have this thing at least in the air so that I can bleed it, get this thing put back together, because I really need this truck and I need my brakes fixed. The caliper on the right front is leaking fluid. So I don't think it was the master. I think it was the caliper that went bad on me. At any rate, if you look at the master that I pulled out, it's disgusting. So I don't feel bad about changing it at all. I really kind of wish that I had done this the entire length of my garage, but I didn't have enough cardboard. That's what you get when you get the frost cycles in New England. That was good intentions, but not good enough. It's been a few days. I got some new calipers in here in the old Rock Auto box. They're about 50 bucks considering the core charge when I send them back, so it was about 100 bucks overall, 50 buck core charge, no big deal. On this bright thing, on this caliper, you can see a lot of weepage here, a lot of oil. That's not good. I'm pretty sure the brake pads are impregnated. Sorry for the audio. You can also see a lot of, I don't know what that is, brake pad material, brake fluid, etc. Kind of chunked up all over there. So I got her in the air, and we got it at least torn down. We can get these calipers changed. This thing's just being incredibly frustrating because there's a lot that I just don't like about this, and especially brake parts with this thing, because, you know what, I might as well just show you. Now, on these master cylinder, you can kind of see it through the pipes here. Right there, and that one there. That's like a, I don't know, quarter or 5/16 line. That's like a regular 3/16 line. But the fittings for both of them have the same head size. So it's a 9/16 wrench to take both of them off. So those are, you know, that's a wacky fitting. And then you got these two down here on this proportioning valve or whatever the hell this thing is. And this is the 3/8 or 3/16 line, but it's got like a 7, I forgot what the hell size that is, but it's a bigger size up from the regular head, and then you got a different size over there. Everything is a different size with tubing diameter and thread pitch and everything, and I just, you know, I've made brake lines for a long time. Double flares and everything, I can do all that stuff, but you can see they're just not cooperating. Like, these two are weeping fluid. I don't think we can see that. Let's go here. Yeah, you can see this one is not, this one is not, but down here they are. That makes zero sense. And try to find one of these parts. You know, try to find one of these. It's really irritating. Like, let me zoom back out here for you. Like, how do I make double flare fittings, and on one side they're good, but on the other side they're not, and it's the same on both ends. This side's good for both, this side's not good for both. It doesn't make any damn sense. So I don't know what to do here. I'll just plug along getting these calipers off. This one over here, I don't know what the deal is, because I don't see any sort of leak, but I'm seeing fluid dripping out of it actively. But up here, everything's dry, and like up here is where it would be running down if, Jesus, it would be running down if these were actively leaking and pouring fluid. These shocks are fairly new. They have less than like 10,000 miles on it. That's dry. So where's this fluid coming from? Did it spill in there before and just start dripping out when I got it on level ground? I don't know. So whatever. We'll just get these calipers off. Luckily, I was the last person to put them on because I changed these hubs and the pads. So It should come off relatively easily. Oh, I changed these brake hoses as well. And that was a while ago. Again, these parts are old, but they don't have any mileage on them. So, and I don't drive it in the wintertime. So, whoops, I'm not filming nothing. So, they should come apart relatively easily. I got the front brakes to bleed really well, but I told you earlier about this line from here to there, the shortest one. I believe that's for the front brakes. It's leaking no matter how hard I tighten it. And I took a look at the fitting on it, and I decided that I'm just going to cut it apart and try again. I do not like how it looks in there. I don't know if I could actually find another one of these proportioning valves, and if I actually do need a new one, I'm absolutely stuffed because you can't just buy one of those. And the threads look like junk, and the fitting inside looks like junk. So I'm just gonna make a longer line, be more aggressive, and get the flares a little bit more flared, I suppose, and we'll get this thing put back in. But I'm over here cutting off all sorts of old pieces. Like here's part of the old one. I got the old fittings off. Luckily I didn't completely round them off yet. I got my double flare kit. Luckily I got one of these tool steel 3/16 ones from Napa, and I think this is just a performance tool kit, but I'm not going to teach you how to do that because this is already probably too long, but you can look it up on the internet. So I'm going to make a little longer line. I'm going to be a little more aggressive on the flare and the bulb end, or not the bulb, but the flare end here, and see if I can't get her to seat this time. It's been a while. It's actually been so long that it's starting to get dark out, and it is snowing, even though I didn't think that there was going to be any snow today. That's the reason why you're not seeing really good videos, and that's why you're not seeing me doing fun stuff, except for working on these annoying pains. But I did something to get this hose, or this line, I mean, working, because there was nothing I could do with a flare or anything. That end on the master cylinder, which you can't see, it's back here somewhere, like back there. That end works just fine. That's fine. This one here, right here, is really, really the pain that I've been talking about. What I did was, instead of doing a normal double flare, because it looked like inside where it accepts the flare was kind of messed up, what I did was I did the nut where you would, here, let me explain it for you. Sorry, you put the brake line in, you clamp it down, then you put this in, and then you run that in with this clamp here, and then basically you pull this out and you use this to push it in and make a second flare. What I did was I just made the first flare and then pulled it out. I ran it back over here and I jammed it in to this distribution block, and after that, because I didn't think that was going to work, that's just kind of stupid, but I tightened it as tight as it would, and it basically formed itself to whatever shape was inside this distribution block, or whatever the hell you call these things. And I'll tell you what, it's working. It's not leaking. I went and I rebled all the brakes. Geez, I can't see a thing. I went and I rebled all the brakes. I even got the rear to bleed, which was just a feat in itself. I mean, that was just an absolute wild card. I had no idea if that was going to work. But I got it to bleed, and I actually got the thing to not leak. Like, I'm super stoked. So, okay, that's not leaking. Now I got to throw the tires back on it and start it up and see if it'll actually move without the pedal falling down. you can see the garage is empty again. I can't even begin to tell you how how difficult that job really was with the truck and getting the brakes figured out and fixed. That took me 2 weeks minimum, and that wasn't even me waiting for parts. That was me doing other jobs in the meantime. That was me waiting for parts, obviously. And it was just such a headache. I mean, it's so hard to work on a truck that big when you don't have as much room or equipment to really deal with it. You've got a garage where you don't have a lot of space. I have way too much stuff because I own a race car, obviously. But there's not a lot of room. The back of the truck was hanging out into the open, and it was snowing on it like actively, and I didn't know it was going to snow. But I had to keep moving it in and out, in and out. I had the Crown Vic in here because the intake manifold gasket went on it and it was pouring antifreeze everywhere. And I didn't show you that because that's boring. I mean, it's wintertime. In New England, there's no racing. There's nothing interesting going on. And I don't have the money to do revivals and stuff. This is just me working on my cars and doing other little projects around here. So I'm sorry if the content really hasn't been that great lately. I do apologize. Trust me, if I could, I would. Genuinely, if I could, I would. So thanks for hanging in there with me over the winter. I appreciate it. When I come back from vacation, which I will be filming, that'll be fun. I will have 1 month until we go back racing. So I'm starting to get back excited a little bit. The race car is going to come back in here pretty soon. I am working on that super secret project. I am getting parts together. This is why I needed my truck to be fixed, because I have to drive up to Massachusetts to pick up parts and get those back here so that we can get that project rolling, although it's probably not going to be here now. It's probably going to be at my mom's house. But either way, we're going to get it going pretty soon. And again, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Please subscribe. I really do want to try to get this channel going. And it might seem a little dry at times, but sometimes maybe we learn something, maybe we don't. Maybe I screw something up. Maybe I find a mouse head in my under the hood. So thank you all again. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time.